Hi, alongside here with John Green, I'm Justin Poston. We're brought here today to discuss the interstate systems, not only what they are, but what they can be as well. Interstate systems are one of the huge components of our everyday lives. They are one of the main key aspects that keeps our economy running. And let's first, before we can understand what they can be, we need to, give a brief overview of what the interstate systems actually are.
The Interstate System started with President Dwight D. Eisenhower signing the Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956. He got the idea from Adolf Hitler and Germany's Autobahn. The purpose of the interstate system was to be able to get soldiers from one part of the country to another as fast as possible. Now the interstate system is used by all people to quickly and efficiently get across the country.
Now that we have a brief understanding of what interstates are, let's talk about what interstates can be. Now, I know you guys have all heard about installing solar grids into the interstate systems, but what if this possibility was much more of a reality? Wouldn't it be nice waking up knowing that you do not have to go to the gas station and fill your tank up full of gas when on your way to work you can just drive over the solar grids and have them powered? I mean, this could not only cut down on the use of gas and petroleum all across the country, but this would give not only our country but the whole world a much more safer and green environment. Another great idea that you guys have probably not heard about nowhere near as much as installing the solar grids is installing heaters in the roads. This would do a couple things. One, it would cut down on the maintenance costs by having the roads last longer. It would cause them not to crack and shrink and expand so much. And another thing, you would just feel so much more safer. Just like, for instance, say you're driving your kids to school, you're in late December and there's snow and ice everywhere, but you could drive on the interstates with no fear of knowing that there's going to be no snow and ice on the roads because the heaters have actually done their job and melted away the snow and ice. Alright, so Dr. Cliff, what do you think about installing solar panels into the interstates like our nation? Like, when do you think it would be installed, efficiently throughout the whole country?
Well, one of the concerns that I would have about that is that most of the things I know about solar panels they're still pretty fragile. So in terms of installing them in the roadways, I think there's going to be some durability issues. When you talk about the interstate, that's a huge amount of traffic that's got to run over them. So if you're really talking about installing them in the lanes where traffic's going to be, I think there are going to be some issues and things that are going to have to be worked out before you could do something like that.
Okay.
Certainly would be nice to have that amount of space. That's a lot of area that you could put solar panels on, but it's just...
In terms of like time and effort and cost that you would have to go into putting and actually installing these correctly throughout the interstate of the country, you think it'd be worth the output, input versus output ratio? You think we would get our money's worth in the long term?
I really don't know. I really don't know. So.
Okay, and another question is heaters. What do you think about installing heaters? Maybe not just in the interstates, but also like in just back roads too, where there's a lot of snow and ice that gets on the roads and causes for a lot of accidents, and maybe especially like maybe intersections and stuff like that. Because I mean, with the less snow and ice on the road, obviously there will be less accidents. What's your intake on that?
I think it would be. I think it's an interesting concept. We ought to probably test it some in the more northern states to start with to see. I think you're fighting two battles. The first is that how much energy it would take in a northern state when you've got snow or ice. You typically have such low temperatures that you're really going to have to spend a lot of energy in order to try to heat the road up enough to remove that. And then the second thing that a lot of people don't think about is the liability that it would create. A lot of times states are very concerned about those kinds of things that might then break down or not function. Who would be responsible if drivers are expecting an intersection to be clear because of a heated road and then there's a malfunction or damaged equipment and it's not? What's the responsibility? Who would be liable in the event of an accident? Those kinds of things. Those tend to be even bigger issues sometimes than the cost issues.
But if they were able to like install on the roads, do you think they would be able to be powered by the solar panels on the roads, like energy from the sun and stuff?
You know, from the little that I know about solar panels, I would not think that that would be sufficient. You know, I think that you know, most of the time when you're talking about heating things, you're talking about some sort of forced electric, and that requires a very large amount of power in order to function.